Greetings, beautiful people. This is SB Favor Thinking Podcast, and my name is SB Favor. How are you doing today? It is Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. Another wonderful day and another day to be thankful. I hope everyone is having a good day. It's another day to be thankful. And as I always say, if you focus on what is good, then you can project something good to happen. So don't sit around basking in all the negative thinking. Make sure that you focus on what is good. Angie is here today so that we can talk about current events a little bit. But before I get into that, I would like to remind you, if you are out there traveling about, make sure that you are wearing your mask and using your hand sanitizer. We are still in the middle of a pandemic, and we all have to be responsible to do our part and make sure you protect your family members. So Angie is here, and we're going to talk about the Derrick Chauvin trial, the officer that murdered George Floyd, and we're going to talk about the legendary rapper DMX. So, Angie, how you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous. Can't complain.
That's good. Did you have a good day?
Yeah, I got my second Pfizer shot, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, Lord. Wow. So, what was it like when you completed the first one?
The process was long, like as far as just going through the building and waiting and all that. That took longer than this time. Mm-hmm. As far as the symptoms, everybody talks about different symptoms and stuff like that. The only issue that I had with my arm mm-hmm. was sore. It was sore for a couple days, and I felt nauseous like that night. Or early in the morning. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I hadn't had any other issues or complaints. So one of the things that someone suggested to me is once you get, when you get your shot, to move it around, mm-hmm. Move it around. So that's what I've been doing, doing little circle motions and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So it won't be, stiffed up. So I think that's what happened last time. So mm-hmm. We'll see. Everybody has their own, experience with it. Some are good. Some don't have no problems with the first shot. Yeah. And then they'll have problems with the second shot or vice versa. So I guess it all depends on your immune system and your body and how it reacts to that.
Yeah. Another friend of mine, she told me the same thing. She got the first dosage, and she told me, basically the same thing you said. And but she's doing really good. Her reaction was good, and we have to take care of our bodies no matter what, right? And building up your immune system is the key thing to stay safe, of course. And for those of us that are choosing to be vaccinated, guess what? It's your choice, but we got to do our part to be responsible because we have to do what we have to do, right? And we got to trust God. We can't walk around paranoid and fearful, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, because there are people out there that's putting out misinformation about the vaccines, and mm-hmm. that's making people afraid. And we're here temporarily anyway, right? And I don't want to sound negative by saying that, but God made the body, and we cannot be afraid. We got to do what we have to do, and we have to be courageous. We can't walk around thinking that something bad is going to happen. So. But I just wanted to talk about Derrick Chauvin, the verdict of the guilty man. He is a guilty man. He is a murderer. Yes.
A murderer, that's for sure.
Yes. So, what was your feelings when you heard the verdict?
I was more. I'm not gonna lie. I did say a few choice words. Okay. I said a few choice words, and basically said they got him, and I clapped. When I heard the first count mm-hmm. read, they said guilty, I clapped. Yeah. And then they went on and on, with the other two counts, guilty, and I just clapped, and I was like, yeah, and I mm-hmm. said a few choice words that probably would not be appropriate to Christian ears, but I was happy. I was happy that I don't want to say justice was served because, George Floyd is not here, so there's no justice in that. I mm-hmm. think accountability mm-hmm. Was served, and I think that this is a warning. A warning. This we're not playing. And I definitely believe that this is just the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's not the end. Yeah. You know, there's a whole lot of more work that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And people need to be held accountable.
Yes.
You know, that's the bottom line. And finally, mm-hmm. this particular example is someone being held accountable. So.
Yeah. You know, I was listening to the verdict, and I did watch most of the trial over the last couple of weeks. And when I heard the verdict, I cried. I cried because I know for a fact that George Floyd, he suffered not just by the kneeling on his neck. He died from that, we know, but he suffered overall, mentally, psychologically, physiologically. He suffered, and you know, when I looked at the video more than once, I should say, it just stuck with me that this man, he suffered, and he didn't deserve to die that way. He didn't deserve that. You know, some people, you know, on social media, they say things like, oh, well, you know, he did drugs and he did this and he has such a, you know, a terrible background of certain things that he did in the past. Regardless of what he did in the past, that's not relevant to the fact that he was mishandled that day and the way he died. So, you know, some people say, oh, why are we celebrating his life? We're not celebrating this man's life. We are looking at the way he died. We're looking at the way he died. The way he died was wrong. And if that was your brother or your uncle or your father, you would feel the same way. And it could have been it could have been a Hispanic man or Asian man, the same thing. It would have been the same reaction. So I just wanted to make that clear. So you said you gave a few choice words when you heard the verdict because
because you know, my whole thing is that it's, you know, even if it was somebody white, you know, and that happened to somebody white, I would have the same feeling, regardless if it was, you know, if it was somebody white and a black officer would have done that. I would feel the same way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so it really, you know, it's this issue going on is long, deep rooted. I mean, we can sit there and say a bunch of things, but it's deep rooted. You know, it's you know, it's white supremacy, you know, at its finest right now. Yes. And it's sad because, you know, black and brown people have been suffering from this oppression for so long. And you know, I can say thank God that we have cameras, that we have phones that have cameras now, because what about the victims of police brutality in the past that they didn't have that, you know what I mean?
True.
And it's your word against theirs.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now, like the prosecutor said, it's there. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing what the prosecutor said, but basically that video didn't lie.
Exactly.
It didn't lie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you can, and when I was looking at the trial, because I also caught snippets of it too, but I was so disgusted. I thought the prosecution team handled it well. I mean, they were like on point. Yes. But I understand that everybody has to be heard, and I understand, even though automatically I knew the man was guilty regardless, but he had to go through his due process to prove his innocence, just like we all do if we were in that position. But I think what I got really discouraged was with his defense team, you know, his defense lawyer, because it was like, this guy is like, he's sick. You know what I mean? I understand you want to make your, I mean, this just the things that he was saying and all this other stuff, and it was just nonsense, and it was just like, you know, really, dude, are you really serious with what you're saying? But I understand he had to do what he had to do to defend his client, but I got really disgusted. I think that's what made me turn it off, because I just couldn't get into, you know, what he was, you know, saying and how he was questioning and all that stuff, and really trying to degrade George Floyd. as a man.
Yeah, and that's the thing that gets me upset too, because like I said, people on social media, they talk about George Floyd's past, and to me, that's not relevant to the fact that that man, he is a human being, and he deserved to be treated as a human being. To allow somebody to be on the ground and just kneel on their neck for the amount of time, okay?
Because it wasn't 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It wasn't 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It actually was 9 minutes, and I think I'm maybe quoting it wrong, but I know it was 9 minutes and maybe
26. I think
26 seconds,
something like that.
So it was much longer than what we first initially found out about.
Yes.
So I mean, you just imagine. This let's round it out. 10 minutes, 10 minutes, somebody being on your neck. That probably felt like a lifetime.
Well, you
know what I'm saying?
When I saw the video, when it first aired on the news, when I saw the video, I was watching it, and I turned my back, went to the kitchen, and came back, and I saw that he was still on his neck. I said, wait a minute. I was in absolute shock to get up out of the chair. I'm watching the news. I see the video. I see that this cop is on this man's neck. I get up, walk to the kitchen, and come back, and he's still on his. I was just in shock, and I said, "Wow, this is crazy."
And not only that was he on his knee. I mean, on his neck for that long period of time. But there's just the posture of how he was, like this privilege that he had. Like this power that he had over this strong black man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And had his hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like at any time through that process, he could have said, "Okay, we got him down. Okay, let me take my knee off his neck." At any time, he had the time.
Yeah.
Let's just round it out. Let's say 10 minutes.
Yes.
He had time, and he chose not to. And I think what it was, it was more so, if you look at the video and see how he's looking into the camera and how he had like this like arrogance about him.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that's what was so frustrating about it. Not only the fact that he had his knee on this man's neck who was helpless, but the arrogance and the white supremacy that was showing. I mean, I'm glad, as you know, that he got convicted of this crime and he was found guilty. And, now it's the question of, what is the judge going to give him? You know what I'm saying?
There's so many factors that play into that, because there was a 9-year-old girl out there, and that's going to play into his sentencing. I was listening to that earlier.
Because that's an image that little girl will see for the rest of her life.
Yes.
For the rest of her life. And even the person that videotaped it, that had put the video out there, like, that's haunting to them. Anybody that saw that in person is haunting to them. It was haunting to me.
Yes.
And I wasn't even there, but I mean, just watching it. And then the fact that he cried out to his mother. When he cried out to his mother, when I first saw that video and he cried out to his mother, I lost it. I just broke down, because it was like he knew at that moment that it seemed like he knew at that moment he was going to go, like he was going to die, because he had no, you know what I mean? And his mother had passed away.
Yeah. Well, he was suffering. Like I said, he suffered from the time that they walked up to the car and they had their guns out and they banged on the window. He was suffering because he was fearful, and he was suffering the entire time, sadly. But we're gonna move on from that, because that is that's a serious thing.
We could go on. That could be a part 2 conversation, because it's just so much factors and so much deep-rooted issues with that. It's really haunting. It really is.
Yeah, I'm just happy that that the family can move forward and continue with the healing process. The Floyd family can continue to move forward in the healing process, because that's very important. They waited for this day to come to, hear the words guilty, and God answered the prayer, because Chauvin has to be accountable for his actions. So now that they can move forward with the healing process, they can also move forward to do the work of civil rights and work for other people that have been affected by police brutality. Because while the verdict was being read, there was a 16-year-old girl in Columbus, Ohio, that was fatally shot by a police officer as well. Yeah. I'm sorry?
Called the police for help. She called the police for help.
Well, I don't want to say what I want to say.
I don't know.
Well, let me say this.
Allegedly, that's what happened.
Well, let me say this. There's a story to that I can't discuss right here on this platform, but I can say this, that people that have issues with anger and violence, I want to say, keep it under control. Now, I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying the police officer was right. I'm not saying the girl was wrong, for doing whatever. I'm not saying either or. But what I'm saying is we just can't put ourselves in certain situations to be targets. So
that's why it's real important that when they talk about defund the police, it's not about not putting money into the police system or anything like that. It's more so taking that money that they put into that and using it for mental health issues and finding, getting special people to come out on these particular calls, because a lot of these cops, they are not professionals. They're not mentally able to handle these situations, and that's why you have people, therapists and things of that nature, that can handle these situations, and so that's why it's so important. People think you're defunding the police. That means that the cops are not going to come to your house if you have an issue, or they're not going to come to a situation, if you get robbed or something. People, they misconstrue the whole point of defund the police. Yeah. And that's why it's real important that people vote. People vote and get the vote out and vote for people that are going to listen to you and follow what you want to happen in this world. So it's just sad that particular incident, I don't know the full story, because I'm just just hearsay. Yeah. But it's just still sad because another life has been lost.
Yeah, well, like I said, there is a story. There is an exact story to what happened. A police body camera cam was released. Video was released, excuse me. And there is a story to it. So, but anyway, I just pray that people, especially, people of color, I pray that we just lift the standard and to be more aware and more alert in society as a whole, and just, do our part to fight for civil rights and, do what we have to do. Everybody is not called to do that, but those that are called to do it, just stand up and do your part. But anyway, I want to move on to DMX. DMX passed away recently, and he is a legendary rapper, and he also was an actor. And so let me ask you this question. What was it about him that got your attention?
I think his delivery, I think it was more so his delivery of the nature of his songs, how he delivered his songs, and that his love of God. And he was not ashamed of that. Yeah. He wasn't ashamed of praising the Lord. He wasn't ashamed of speaking about the Lord. He wasn't ashamed. He was unapologetic. He wasn't ashamed of the demons that, he suffered from. And so that's what I admired about him. People can say all kinds of things about him, saying that he was a womanizer, he was an addict, he was
just the negative stuff,
whatever, all the negative stuff. Yeah. But we all have a negative past, and we all have have things that we deal with on a daily basis. Now, does it mean that I I condone any of that? No, I don't. But it's just the fact that I think that he was a man of God, in a different way, as and I think I honestly believe if he was still here and really stayed on the path, I could honestly say he could probably be a minister, because just the way he delivered his message, and I think he had a way of reaching people.
Well,
that no one else could do.
God, I believe that God used him exactly the way he wanted to use him, because in his shows, at the end of his shows, and sometimes in the middle of a concert, he would just stop and just pray. And I think that, for someone on that platform to be courageous enough to just scream out the name of Jesus, I think that is just an awesome thing, and so that's what he did. I mean, he wasn't ashamed to be transparent and open when it came to his feelings about God, his own struggles, like you said, and just letting people know that he loved the Lord. And I think that God used him strategically, because he spoke the language of people in the rap culture. You know what I'm saying? And so because he spoke, their language, they were able to gravitate to the things he said and the things he did when he was on stage. And so that's what got my attention. I wasn't always listening to his music, like every now and then. But one day I happened to be watching something on television, and then all of a sudden I just heard him just in the middle of a conversation he was having with the interviewer. He just out of nowhere just started praying, and I said, wow, that's powerful. So he was so in tune with God. He was so sensitive to God, because he knew just when to pray. And he felt, I believe he was sensitive to people and, overall, I heard him say one day, he was talking to Snoop Dogg on I think on the Versus platform. He said that he loves everybody. And even if somebody doesn't love him, because it's his love, that person couldn't stop him from loving them. I thought that was powerful. He said, it's my love. This is my love. And he said, even if you don't love me, this is still my love to love you. I thought that was really, really powerful. But
he definitely was a man that of many words. Mm-hmm. And and that's what people fail to realize, that this man he was just so profound in his words, and just way he loved people. Yeah. And so, today is the anniversary of our dear beloved Prince.
Absolutely, yes. And it's when this day comes, it's kind of bittersweet to me, because one part of me wants to just be kind of serious and somewhat sad, then the other part says celebrate. So I'm leaning more towards the celebration side, because Prince, he emptied out all of his gifts to us, and I miss him dearly. Yeah. Yes.
I saw something that was recently on 60 Minutes. They did a story on him.
I saw that.
About his music, and how much he has thousands and thousands of music that has never been released.
Welcome to America. That's the name of the new.
Welcome to America is coming out soon. I don't know the exact date, but it's coming out soon. And but even just he has just so much, and the from what I was told of what I saw the footage I saw on 60 Minutes, it was the music is for this time, for this, it talks about everything that we're going on. And this is, I don't know how long ago he recorded this, but this is something that's going on, like the songs relate to what's going on in this day and age.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. It's just, it is a bittersweet day. It really is a bittersweet day.
Yeah. So, but I'm glad you brought that up. I've been thinking about him off and on, and today, and looked at a few pictures, and of course, a couple of days ago, I was listening to his music. Like I said, I have moments when I can listen to his music, and then I have moments where like I don't want to listen to it because I miss him. I really miss him. I mean, I didn't know him personally. I wish I will see him in heaven one day, but I miss him so much because he was so much a part of my life in terms of like the style of music that I love, and just my love for music, and even the clothes that I like, my style of dressing when I was a teenager. And the older I became, I just continued to follow him, and everything that he did musically. I studied this man, and he's just such an awesome gift. And I'm so glad that they are going to continue to release music from his vault. The vault, that's where all the music is. They said they could release an album a year.
An album a year up until, I forgot what time frame they said. That whatever it is, I probably will not be here.
More than 50 years, I think.
Yeah, the music will continue way after,
yeah,
all of us are gone. So
yeah.
And I just hope that people will continue to enjoy his music, and I think they will.
Yes.
I'm talking about the younger generation, before us.
Mm-hmm.
I think hopefully they will. They'll appreciate it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Learn about him. He is something to be learned.
Absolutely.
You have to learn about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but on that note, how are you doing? I gotta ask how you doing, because the last time we talked on the podcast, we were talking about some things that you were going through. You good? You're moving right along. God is giving you strength, and
I take it day by day.
Mm-hmm.
I take it day by day. This past Monday would have been a month that my son has been born.
Yeah.
And I had my moments, I had my moments, and I spoke to a lady that I know that has experienced the same thing, the loss of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I just was asking her different questions, and, to see if this was normal, because I don't know what normal is anymore. And she said, everything you're going through is okay. So don't ever question if whatever you're doing is wrong or right, and don't allow anyone else to question what you're doing.
Yeah.
I have my son's things in a storage,
mm-hmm.
and I actually go there and talk to him.
Yeah.
And because that gives me peace, and then some days when I don't get there, which I'm upset, but then I apologize, like I'm not, like I should have been there, but I wasn't, or I'm not supposed to laugh, but at times, because I'm supposed to be sad. And she said, you're going to go through all these emotions, and
mm-hmm.
and it's okay.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to vision in my mind now, which I'm working on. I haven't really focused on it lately, but it was suggested to me to find a place that I want to be in, a world that I want to be in, a place of what brings me peace, and so I'm trying to focus on that now, and but I miss him, I miss him,
mm-hmm.
It's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about him,
mm-hmm.
or something, whether it's a song or if I'll go through his pictures. I do that a lot. I go through pictures, videos, or whatever of
mm-hmm.
him when he was younger and as an adult male, and it's just a lot, it's just a lot. And I'm doing the necessary things that I have to do so I won't lose my mind. Like I reached out to people. I'm in a support group that meets once a month. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing to keep to have some type of
focus, daily focus.
Exactly, daily focus. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's good, because healing is a process, and taking a day at a time to apply what you need, things can get better in terms of just being able to function. And so that's what it's all about. But I just wanted to ask you about that. And
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap it up, and I just wanted to have a conversation about these things pertaining to current events. And so my next podcast is going to be tomorrow. We're going to talk about church hurt and why people turn away from the church. And Dennis Scott is going to be here. He is an author, and that's going to be a good podcast. What you think, Ange?
I think it's going to be really good. I would like to chime in on that maybe, but I don't know. But no, I won't take it away from Dennis. No, but I think that's going to be a great podcast, and I hope that whoever's listening gets a lot out of it.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. I'm looking forward to completing the episode because I have a lot to share, and it's something that I think people need to hear, and we need to discuss it because all of us have been through something, right? Those of us that have gone to church and we've gone through something, and we decided to not go to church because of something that happened. But that's not the reason to turn away from God. But that's all I'm going to say about that. But that's going to be the next episode tomorrow. And is there anything else you want to share, Ange?
No, that's it. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk.
Yeah, I just wanted to have the conversation because it's just good to, kind of get some things out, our feelings, and just talk about what's going on, right? So, but listeners, I thank you so much for tuning in to listen to SB Favor Thinking Podcast. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at sbfavor@yahoo.com via email. You can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at sbfavor. I also have a YouTube channel. Please click like and click the bell so that you can receive a notification each time there is a new episode of SB Favor Thinking Podcast. Please share the podcast with others. And if you would like to donate to the podcast, you can donate at Cash App $SB Favor. I appreciate you. And once again, please share the podcast with others. And thank you for tuning in. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I appreciate you once again. Thank you so much. And you have a good day.